What's up? It's your girl Divine Justice back for another Divine Channel message for the Divine Collective. It wasn't a punishment. It's not your destiny. It was just a harsh lesson. Okay? And I hope this message reaches who it needs to reach and resonates with who it needs to resonate with. And if it doesn't resonate, feel free to excuse yourself. It wasn't a punishment. It's not your destiny. It was just a harsh lesson. The age of Aquarius aggressively brought in this overthrow system energy, this hot energy. It was an aggressive spiritual energy to overthrow the old spiritual system. That had a lot to do with how aggressive your awakening was. It was an extremely painful experience. Divine though. It caused a trauma bond. Okay? That's a real thing. That's a psychological thing. And it's not so, I know we talk about it like it's just so dirty, like, oh, it's a trauma bond. But you need to think about the human mind, the human body, the human soul confirmation. When you go through something awful with the person, it will bond you in that experience. Right? Like y'all overcame that. You went through a traumatic thing together. And so you are bonded with that person. And a lot of times this thing is used to create strong teams and stuff like that. Not necessarily creating like extremely traumatic situations, but just putting the team through challenges, putting people through challenges intentionally, right? A captain or a team leader or something like that would do that on purpose just so to make sure that team bonds. Well, in life that happens naturally, and also it happens unnaturally. So you would trauma bond with somebody like you supposed to trauma bond with, like, I don't know, like your brother, your sister, somebody you grew up with and y'all really like went through that together, and that is the bond that bonds you. God kind of he put y'all on the same planet so y'all could bond, not just over trauma, of course, but it happens. But just the unnatural way is more so when, you know, people just become aware of these things, right? And then we can use them for bad, like creating a toxic situation on purpose so that you can bond with them, and or not necessarily on purpose, but they did it on purpose, meaning they wanted to bring you harm, right? Whether they smart enough to know, oh, this is going to create a psychological trauma bond, and they're going to be always drawn to me forever. People might not always consciously know these, but a lot of people subconsciously know this, especially people who read different books about, you know, the art of war, the 32 laws of power, stuff like that. So people who are, you know, you got all different type of people. Some people are trying to manipulate their surroundings in a maybe an unfair way, but then some people are trying to really just get control of their life and of what they can control in a healthy way. So, you know, that knowledge is not always used for bad, but some people do use it for bad. And I say all that to say that you ran into somebody who did that on purpose, even though they weren't smart enough to know the psychological vocabulary. They might have just understood the sociological, the spiritual through the books and stuff that they read. They might just think that that's what they're doing, but they're not understanding that they intentionally created a trauma bond with you so that you can be constantly pulled to them. And if whether they knew it or not, the energies that were working through them knew this. And then it was extremely painful. So we say that to say that pull, it's not a natural pull. It's not, oh, maybe this my person, it's a twin flame, it's a soulmate. Even if it was a twin flame, it's a was. Even if it was a soulmate, it's a was. Like nothing about that situation, like very little besides the divine spark that y'all had and that person ran away from was wholesome. That was it. Everything else was that pull you feel, that, you know, ruminating you might have done in the past, because a lot of y'all, spirit is telling me it's kind of mostly out of this energy. You're more so in the reconciliation stage. You're in the real, like you're really so far past it. You're completely reconciling, completely healing. You're almost like completely healed from the spirit is saying, in the best way that you can be as a living person. They're saying, as a living person, you're almost as healed as you can be, of course, because you're never done healing, spirit says, but you're about as healed as you can be. Like when that scab is scabbed, it fell off, it's gone, the skin grew back, it's smooth again. So you're trying to figure out, like, you guys still got like little small questions, right? Little small questions, and that's nagging at you, like, maybe that was my person, maybe that is my destiny. Somewhere down the line, we gonna come back together, blah, 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 blah. And for some people, that might be your story, but for my collective that I'm talking to right now, it's a no. It's a very clear, spirit wants you to be very clear. It was a trauma bond, an unauthorized, unlawful trauma bond. But it was ordained to it was ordained to cross paths with you, to wake you up, right? To wake you up and to also bring down karmic justice and balance, bring back the balance, the imbalance that these people were creating. So spirit wants to be clear on that. Very, very clear. That pain, okay, that experience in itself, what it did, broke your heart, broke your mind a little bit, because your heart was broken. Your mind is going to be a reflection of that. You're not going to understand why. And so that's going to keep you magnetized to an answer. That's very simple. You was destined to cross paths with this energy. You became destined. You attracted the God in you, the God above, the Most High in you, attracted this energy, decided to say, okay, it's time. Something got to wake my ass up to cross paths with this energy. And there were different timelines that could have played out. Most High is saying, if that person miraculously, which they, no, God give everybody a chance, but if that person miraculously awakened from that experience, which Most High knew that they were not in a position to fully awaken just from that experience. Not that you're not powerful enough. They're able to fully awaken while you're still in the picture. You have to, the energy has to be introduced, and then access has to be taken away. And then the real awakenings and stuff start. But spirit is saying no. Spirit is saying no. Baby, no. You ruminating, you thinking, the longing you feel, that's just the pain of the trauma of the bond. Something was, what is God trying to say? Something was miraculous, like almost something was almost holy about the experience, and it was. But not in the way you think, baby. Something like that would shake your world, and you know it's nothing but the divine, right? But at the same time, it's the divine showing you that that's not divine, right? It's the divine showing you that that's not divine. And it's time to make your shift, your pivot, and your ascension, boo. And so that is the lingering question. That is the gist of this upload. No, it was a harsh lesson. You are meant to cross paths with this energy, and if it was meant to improve you both, whether y'all ended up together or not, the relationship worked out or not, I mean, it kind of wasn't supposed to work out. It was supposed to wake you up. So your toxic self Yeah, right. So that toxic overgiving, sacrificing, leaving yourself vulnerable for all kind of attacks and disrespect and disease. It attracted that experience in that person. Okay, whether it was your twin flame, it still attracted that person because your soul knew that would be the person. Because your soul knew that person wasn't awakened yet. That person was demonic, right? So the soul said, okay, let's pick the perfect demon. The perfect demon. And no, it's not everybody that's not your twin flame for everybody. Most people, that's not your twin flame. It was a soulmate though, but it was a special type of soulmate, right? But it was not the one not your kingdom spouse. Let's be clear. It's not your kingdom spouse. So your toxic self, right? When you were in that state of just self-destruction, which is, how the angel saw it, because not having no boundaries up, being that vulnerable to anything, venomous energy can come in. And that was the lesson. Venomous, baby. Not just any old little regular bad person hit you on the hand like that, hurt your feelings a little bit. Now, baby, you can actually let a real life cancer in, a real life venomous, aggressively damaging and harmful person inside your beautiful, serene, pristine, clean, pure world. Okay, and we all know, Lord, we don't want to go back. We already know what the destruction of that. So yes, your toxic self wanted this, attracted this experience with, because you lack boundaries and self-love. And knew that you would, that old version of yourself, fall in love with the enemy, create a trauma bond, and develop feelings and attachment to someone that only wants to damage. It's a lot to process. It's completely devastating, especially to the ego. And to experience an experience like this can cause multiple ego deaths. It's like you feel shame, you feel incompetent, then anger at self, and then at your foundational family that shaped you to be vulnerable and self-degrading and self-destroying victim. To be in that position. Then pride for having survived at all. And for choosing enlightenment. You're so proud of yourself for choosing enlightenment. For choosing each and every time the right thoughts, the right actions. The compassion. Then you feel compassion and love for yourself and growth and then power. You're like, oh shit, I did that motherfucking shit, bitch. And then it repeats, right? It's like a up and down thing. Like, why the fuck? How in the hell could I let that happen? Oh my God. Suicidal behavior. Excuse my language, TikTok. When will you trust yourself again? Then you start feeling like, wait, how can I trust myself? I did some crazy, stupid ass shit like that. When will you trust other people again? Let you not have created a child with someone less than a line. More devastation, more pain, more setbacks. But through all the bad decisions and experiences, you healed. That's right there, little dot right there on the eye. Hold on. Through all the crap, though, you got to give yourself credit for that, though. You can't take that away from you. You isolated and did the work. You protected them babies even through the bad reproductive partner. You taught them the divinity and how to love and God and see God. God says, remember, the world is changing rapidly. Don't judge yourself too harshly. Just enough to get the growth. God said he just wanted you to criticize yourself just enough to get the growth. Not to beat yourself down into the ground with the seed and the plant. Now, it ain't even gonna grow. Squeeze the love and wisdom out and into the youth. God says it was the only and let's be clear. Here's your answer. It was the only and best way for you. Just know that. When you start feeling bad and you start feeling shame and you going through that cycle like, what in the hell? Then you go through pride and proud because you got through it, but then you go back through like, damn, how in the fuck did I even get there? God said, but baby, just know that what I sent to you, it was the only way. And I wouldn't have sent it if it wasn't the only way. God waited to the last minute to send that test into us because God didn't want to. But at the end of the day, God got to be God, and God got to be the parent, and God got to do what's best for us. But God wants to answer your question, Divine One. The one that you've been having in your heart. Yes, it was the only way. That's why your soul made the executive call and made that call. It was time. It was time, baby. You was on E. You could have, if they would have let that go on any further, you could have done irreparable damage to yourself. Irreparable damage to your body and to your soul, your spirit, your heart, your mind. It was time to completely close that door to that energy profile. That, oh, I'm giving at the expense of me, of yourself. Hell fucking no. God said, don't ever give some shit you ain't got. You hear what I'm saying? Bitch, you need to keep that for you. You ain't got that fab is for the light bill. You ain't got that fab is for you. You ain't got it. It's for you. It's spent already on you. There's an analogy for energy, but I know the Divine One's rocking with me. You following. But, yeah. You had to completely close the door. God had to completely close the door to that energy, okay? That energy profile forever. They wanted you to be able to see that energy profile. An energy profile, a type of motherfucking energy, a type of person. They want you to be able to see that motherfucker right away and be able to reject and activate boundaries of your choice immediately. How the fuck you gonna recognize it if you ain't never experienced it for real, in and out? You know this motherfucker from the top of the fucking head to the tippity toes of that motherfucking toenail fungus. On baby, you know these motherfuckers, baby. On baby, you know they ass better than they know they self. Stop fucking playing. They read the book once, bitch. You read the book 3 times front and back, and you read the covers and the publishing page. Hallelujah, somebody. 17:23 on the clock. You sit and ponder. Could there have been any other way? Did we have to lose what we lost? Some of y'all lost a lot during this experience. Some of y'all lost. Okay, we know. I don't want to have to say it. You know what you lost. Some of y'all lost precious lives. Was lost. Precious. Unborn. Some of y'all lost shit that just can't be replaced. Stuff that was given to you by passed over long was that you lost fucking with this motherfucker. You sit and ponder, did we have to lose what we lost? Did I really deserve that? Is that indicative of my worth? Or am I dumb? Am I evil? Was I evil to attract that type of evil? God says, knowing what I have just fucking told you now should give you every answer to the highest vibration. Every answer, the highest vibrational answers. And should give you the highest vibrational answers, and keeping in mind my message to you that it was necessary to bring you out of a dangerous energy, a dangerous programming you were in. It was the initiation. It was the price. Many, not just you, baby, have paid. They had to let it go. It left their hands. It was gone. They had to pay before you. Many paid that price before you to break the firmament. to escape the matrix. Don't let anyone manipulate that womb to mean anything else. Anything else. Is it indicative of your worth? Fuck no. Hell no. You was worth a gajillions in a not amount of money, but when you was dumb as hell giving away all your motherfucking love for nothing. You was still worth a bajillions. You just didn't know it. The experience was to teach you. No, it's not indicative of your worth. Are you dumb? No. Were you evil? No. You was just in a dangerous programming. God said, I'm answering your fucking questions right here. No. Yes. No. The highest vibrational answer is the answer. It was not a punishment. That was not your destiny. That is not your person. It was necessary warfare tactics to support and empower a soldier of God down here on earth. Because they have to go by earth rules. They got to do shit the way it fucking work down here. Ain't no fucking God not finna just get up off the fucking throne. No, but he will send some motherfucking body. So it's an earthly way of doing things. With the heaven and the earth have to fucking work together. They got to do shit a certain way. It was the only way. Know that. And it's not indicative of none of that other lower vibrational bullshit that try to cross your mind when you in your cycle of healing. Of going through your cycle of, damn, that was fucked up. Damn, I'm powerful. Damn, that was fucked up. Damn, I'm powerful. When you go through that cycle, just remember, don't ever get caught up at the down part. Like, no, you're not evil. Never was, never will be. No, you're not cheap. Never was, never will be. Bitch, you was just a little too sleep. Love you. And I hope, Spirit says, baby, because this is confirmation. This right here, this message, I hope that this ritual needs to reach. And this will ease your mind and help you when you go through your cycle of going up and down a little bit. It's a spiral of, damn, how, why did that happen? I messed up, lives was lost. God said, remember this. It wasn't, bitch, it was necessary. And we got the most important life that we needed to have preserved, which was yours. You got shit to do. And everything that was lost will be returned onto you. Remember that. Ashe, I love y'all.